Hello again. I think it fair to say that I'm a pretty tolerant person. Few things really shock me, and I'm happy for others to get up to whatever they please in their own homes, always providing that it involves only consenting adults, of course. Men making love to men, women with women, two men and one woman, man by himself, it's all fine by me. I'm also happy for people to pursue other interests in the sexual line as long as they don't make an exhibition of it. I give a link in the description to this video to a court case which older viewers might recall. A group of men gained pleasure from, among other things, nailing each other's penises to doors. They were convicted of wounding and assault and sent to prison. I thought this absolutely outrageous and a great infringement of personal liberty. They all consented to what was going on. The matter all happened in private. Nobody else saw it. Why on earth should the state involve itself in the matter? Again, you see, that's toleration. I mean, it's not the sort of thing my wife and I get up to of an evening. It's true. But if the people next door wanted to nail each other's genitals to the doors of their own home, I wouldn't be in the least bothered about it. Obviously, as long as they restricted the hammering to reasonable hours and I wasn't kept awake at night by the sound of nails being banged in and groans of agony or shrieks of ecstasy or however such people express themselves upon having a 6-inch nail driven through the penis. This is toleration, and in precisely the same way I tolerate homosexuality and have no interest in it at all. No interest in stopping it, encouraging it, or any actions at all towards it. If people want to be homosexual or engage in homosexual activity, nothing to do with me. There is a but though, and it is this. I do not wish to see other people's minority sexual interests displayed in public or advertised to children and adolescents. I might accept the hammering of nails through penises in private, but I would object if a carnival was arranged which encouraged the practice and called upon everybody to accept seeing such practices in public and to celebrate the idea of banging nails through each other's genital organs. The reason for my objection is not prudishness, but rather the fact that a public display of this kind would be seen by impressionable children and adolescents, and young people being what they are, some would then go off and start banging nails through each other's penises. It would be a bad idea to suggest to youngsters that this kind of thing was normal and healthy and something we should all be open to trying out. I may be wrong, but I have a very strong suspicion that this is at the bottom of the explosion of interest among young people in changing gender or sex or whatever they call it. If you advertise to children and teenagers that they can dress in the clothes of the opposite sex if they wish to do so, and that boys can take showers with girls and so on, then sure enough a certain number will wish to do so. Sometimes it's the sheer novelty of the thing and the unexpected nature of what is possible now. The same probably applies to homosexuality. Nobody knows what percentage of the population are actually gay. 10% is the usual figure given, but this is based on research carried out years ago in prisons and also as a result of questions about whether people have ever in their lives had the same relations with the same sex that they do with the opposite sex. Obviously in prisons homosexuality is rife because there's no option, and the same thing used to apply, and I don't know if it still does, to single-sex schools. Speaking as somebody who attended a boys' school many years ago, I can confirm that an awful lot of fooling around went on like that. But I do not know a single man with whom I was at school who still does that sort of thing. For most young people, it's a transient phase. It's likely that the percentage of adults who are actually gay is maybe more like 1 or 2% rather than 10. And this means that homosexuality is something not indulged in by 98 or 99% of the adult population. It's very much a minority interest. I may well be wrong, but I have an idea that if there were no pride marches and rainbows put up everywhere by the police and National Health Service and all the rest of it, then interest in homosexuality among young people might wane a little as they got older, as it did in the past. As I say, at one time it used to be common enough amongst young men, and then they grew out of it and got married. But these days, because of the unremitting propaganda being put forward, a lot of them carry on doing it. It's almost like a case of arrested development. They don't move beyond that stage. As I say, I have no animosity at all towards gays, transsexuals, or people who wish to nail their penises to the kitchen door. But I would rather that such practices were conducted in privacy, without being splashed across newspaper, television and internet. There's nothing wrong, of course, with any of those things, but heterosexual family life consisting of a man and woman married to each other and monogamous, raising their own children together, gives by far and away the best outlook for the rising generation. And I really can't see why we are urging children and teenagers actively to avoid this lifestyle.